countdown. Good morning to you all. Today, I am going to discuss a blatant act of discrimination. And you would think that in the year 2021 that we will be beyond discrimination, but yet it persists. And I'm talking about, and there's a lot of bad governors in this country, and I am fair to say they're from both parties. But it's just I don't like Governor Gavin Newsom of California for expressing the worst excesses of an ideology that I guess I'm sort of, ambiguously on the side in the political spectrum of the silly side of liberalism that exists by people like Governor Gavin Newsom of California. But then you juxtaposition that to someone like Governor Greg Abbott of Texas, who is 10 times, 100 times worse as far as I'm concerned. As I said, I didn't particularly care for Governor Andrew Cuomo of New York. Don't care for Governor Gavin Newsom of California. But, then you got morons like Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida and this ass clown, Greg Abbott of Texas. We have COVID. Not only did he mismanage this COVID in his response as the governor of Texas, causing needless deaths and skyrocketing health costs because, of not using basic common sense measures to limit the spread of this virus, and even flirting with denial, and all in the name of this freedom kind of attitude. And there's nothing that makes me more angry than a conservative who claims they're for freedom and then actually do not show freedom other than a verbal or rhetorical sound bites. The highest form of hypocrisy. I'm not talking about conservatives who are for freedom. There are people who are conservative that would support freedom, but Governor Greg Abbott is not one of them. Not even close. So we have COVID. It's a global pandemic, and people are being put in danger. Their lives are being put in danger by the actions of Governor Greg Abbott of Texas. Well, if that's not bad enough, he decides to engage in a culture war. If you think about it, look at this governor and the previous two governors of Texas, Greg Abbott, Rick Perry. The people of Texas elected fucking Rick Perry, and prior to that, Governor George W. Bush, who was killing people as the governor of California before he decided to start killing people halfway across the world from 2001 to 2009. So not only is he a war criminal, he's also committed domestic murder as well. Same with Rick Perry, same with Greg Abbott, who are big time supporters of the death penalty. Fuck them. But anyway, he decided to sign legislation to ban transgender girls from high school sports. And, this is like the last gasp or last area of open, sure discrimination against the LGBTQ community that is culturally halfway acceptable by large portions of the U.S. Population. Because, it used to be that years ago, being openly hostile, not just by rhetoric and legislation, but even physically hostile toward homosexuals and lesbians was considered almost acceptable, and it isn't anymore. But for some reason, people are just still not. People are just still kind of like, oh my god, a transgender person. Oh my goodness, what's happening to society? What's happening is that human beings are living as human beings, and transgender pe- people are human beings too. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and show this video real quick because I want to say that Greg Abbott went and signed legislation to ban transgender girls in sports, and a couple other states have done the same thing themselves too. And I'm going to comment more on it shortly thereafter. Give me a moment here, and I shall um, comment in a moment.
Since January, as a mom, we sense things, and she's been a little bit stressed out for the negative rhetoric. And the only way I have to let her know that mom got this for you is for me to be here. Don't think that making ourselves visible, it's easy. It's not. It's difficult. But this is my way of letting her know that I will fight for her. Any parent does that for their children. We have people who are dying, committing suicide. Suicide rate amongst trans is really high, and that is our worst fear. And you are turning our worst fear into reality, where you're pushing kids. This is not about adults, this is about kids. Legislation is about children. You're supposed to protect them, and you're not protecting them. You are bullying children. We protect our kids from bullies, you are bullying them. We didn't put you, or we didn't vote you in so you can bully our children. And all the deaths that are going around, all the suicides that are happening as we speak, or the attempted suicides, are on your hands.
Okay. That public service announcement was needed to stress that point. Everything she said was true, and we're talking about a concerned mother. And the thing about it is that allowing transgender girls to participate in high school is not going to be a built-in advantage. It's just not. I mean, whether we're talking about young transgender girls, or whether we're talking about getting my heart's in the right place, but I'm getting acquainted with these terms myself. A cisgender a woman. There's a lot of cisgender women that can sit there and kick some big guy's ass. So I mean, and the thing about it is that the argument, or that's supposedly justifying banning transgender girls from sports, is the same argument I've heard more or less on not allowing gays in the military. It'll undermine the morale. It will make our military less cohesive. Or not allowing women to fight in military combat. And then I got something to say about the whole gays in the military and the women serving in combat. And the thing about it is, going to kind of paraphrase the late David McReynolds when he, and I won't go quite as radical as his approach, but I understand what he's saying. He was saying it back in the early '90s, and I would agree with him that instead of banning gays from the military, and maybe to just give the gays and the straight an honorable discharge and to not have a military. Now he was a radical pacifist, and I won't go quite that far, but I do go as far as to say 50% military, 50% reduction in military spending and getting us out of all these wars. And I'm going into another subject or what have you. But if we got to have a military in the defense, then people who are LGBTQ should be allowed to serve proudly in the army with the rest of the American population, and women should be allowed to serve in combat if we got to go and fight wars, which I am like 95% of the time against war. So there you have it. And as far as as I said, the argument and think about it is there was like bigger issues out there, far bigger issues than transgender girls serving in sports, or when I was noticing a decade ago here in North Carolina, Pat McCrory, the governor, very horrible governor, who is actually planning to run for the U.S. Senate in 2022, and I'm going to have to do a commentary on that asshole. But Pat McCrory signed legislation that ban transgender women from using public restrooms. I forgot the name of the bill was at the time, and that became kind of national news too. And so this is what we're dealing with when we come to these politicians. And Greg Abbott needs to be removed from governor simply for his inappropriate way of fighting COVID. But the people of Texas, they need to remove this asshole. Also, for declaring war against a small group of people who's done nothing, no harm, committed no harm against anyone. There's nothing wrong with being transgender. They're not asking for special rights. And if they were, I would be opposed to special rights for anybody. But what they're asking for is old-fashioned equality, freedom. You can't get any more libertarian than just basic freedom. And the problem with people like Governor Greg Abbott is these people are very selective about their libertarianism, because they'll tell you that, I'm basically a libertarian. I want government out of the way so big business can just fuck people over. That's what I mean by freedom. But, giving people health care or expanding union rights or things like that, that's government tyranny. Or trying to protect people from COVID, the inconvenience of wearing a mask, which, as I said, I do think that sometimes some politicians are a little overboard with the mask mandates, but at the same time, to have just a fervent, hostility toward wearing a mask and saying, well, that's creeping Sharia law. They're trying to make us wear masks and make us look like we're a bunch of Muslims across the world. That's not happening. Or this is just to control people. That kind of mentality, no. Even some overreaching, well-meaning politicians who may go overboard with some aspects of legislation to try to put a curb on COVID are trying to save people's fucking life. Something that Governor Abbott seems to know nothing about. Anyway, that's just my little bit of rant on this. It's things you find out late at night on the news. So anyway, if you like what you heard, press like and comment. If you disagree, well, comment anyway. We'll have a conversation. If you want to, feel free to share the content on this channel. As a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it, because we are, in fact, the muckrakers of our time. Feel free to also hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and until next time, I hope each and every one of you are going to have a great day, and I'll be commenting later. So now I'm about to what am I about to do? I am about to leave you with a little bit of I'll call it a musical interlude. So y'all have a great day, and we will discuss the burning issues of the day even further. Good day to each and every one of you.